In this demo, we're going to show you how you can use Turbot guardrails to assess and benchmark your preventative posture across your cloud organizations and accounts. So this overarching dashboard is measuring your posture across your categories, your preventative layers, so pre-deployment all the way through to runtime. It's also suggesting some recommendations, and you can also visualize your score and your maturity across industry benchmarks like CIS, PCI, NIST, etc., as well as custom benchmarks like I have here around my top preventative controls. And so if I wanted to assess how well I'm doing against, let's say, a very common framework like AWS CIS, and this is looking at my Amazon organization structure in this demo environment, I could see how well I'm adhering per section of the CIS report. So in this category, section 3, I can then drill in and see, well, for section 3.1 for S3, I have a number of preventative controls that are in place that's helping me adhere to this particular benchmark. And I can drill in further. I can see that this particular 3.1.1 is around ensuring encryption in transit. I can then see how well each of one of my accounts has this type of preventative control, as well as the scoring across each of those. And it's because of this one active prevention that I have in place, and it's coming from this particular AWS service control policy, or SCP, and this particular statement in that policy is helping to ensure that for S3, I am denying any secure transport being set to false. And because that SCP is applied and it's going across all of my Amazon accounts in this particular organization, I am scoring a 5. And so this is meeting this particular matched objective against the broader scope of my organization structure. If I was looking to then improve my scoring, so for example, in section 6.7, this is around ensuring that IMDS version 2 is always in place. For this particular one, there's actually two objectives that are possible. So one is I could safeguard folks from being in my organization structure from affecting any service defaults, so managing those account attributes, and I can prevent them from altering those configurations. I can also use a preventative control to enforce that IMDS is always in place whenever folks spin up an EC2 instance. So if I wanted to use this as my objective, right now I don't have any preventative posture in place. I could see that across my organization structure, I don't have any preventative controls. There's nothing active in the environment. And so I can use Turbot guardrails to recommend what should I do to actually improve this particular posture, this type of control. What it's doing is it's assessing our entire Amazon organization structure, all of the accounts. It's then looking at all the runtime configuration. So it's looking across all the layers of what's possible, what do I have in place, and then it's coming back and recommending how I can improve that. So I can improve that with SCP deny statements. I can use a Turbot guardrails runtime control to detect and automatically remediate. I could put some build layer controls like a CloudFormation Lambda hook in place. For this example, I'm just going to look at this fourth recommendation here, which is around requiring it from a run instance perspective. So this would be if anyone tries to spin up an EC2 instance without IMDS, this would block them from being able to introduce that configuration on a new EC2 instance. In another demo video, we'll show that you can actually simulate and test these type of recommendations before you deploy them. But in this case, I'm just going to copy this out and then move over to the Amazon organization screen. And whether I'm going to embed this to an existing SCP or I'm going to create a new one here, I can then paste that in and then I can apply that across my organization. So this is just native in Amazon. And of course, you would want to test this before you deploy, which will have a lot of great features on that. But in this case, just to show you the preventative reaction, so any changes that are happening to your organization structure, your SCPs, guardrails will react and score and then update recommendations based on that. So in this case, I have my Amazon org structure, but I don't want to apply it to all of it. And maybe I'm just going to apply it to this workload section, which has multiple OUs, sub-OUs under it, and then multiple accounts. And so if I attach this policy to deny run instances, back in guardrails, it will detect that there's a change to this SCP, and I can see that drift in the activity log, that that the Bob here logged in as super user in the org structure had made that change. And with that, I can then see the increase in my scores. If I go back to my objectives here, and so in this case, looking at this Enforce IMDS, I could see now I have that one active prevention in place, and it's going across not all of my environment, right? Just the workloads. So I can actually see that change increase my score for this particular objective. And so if I go back to my CIS scoring, instead of achieving a 0 for that, I'm now achieving a 3, meeting that objective across the recommendations that I had earlier. Now, there's a ton of opportunity to increase your posture across the different layers. If you're interested in getting a free CIS assessment or preventative posture assessment, please reach out to us at turbot.com/start.